Hello, hello, hello. How's it going, everybody? How is it going? I have to tell you, real excited. The kids went back to school today. I love them so much. But mama needs to work. I need to get, I need to have my own time to do my own thing and to work and to get this stuff out. And so I'm so excited. They're back at school and I get to hang out with you guys. And we are going to talk a little bit about healing today. And I'm really excited about it. This is what I worked on in December. Let me just start by saying this really quickly. So I'm not an expert. I don't claim to be. I'm not pretending to be. I don't want to be. There's none of that, okay? So it's always an interesting question when people ask me what I do. Because I'm like, it's kind of hard to describe. But I've settled with right now saying that I experience and I share. I just feel really led to live my life and to be as honest and truthful as I can about it. And if my story helps anybody in any way, then I'm happy to share it. I also believe that the things that I share, sometimes people will say you share such personal things. I don't really look at it that way. I genuinely believe that I'm sharing a human experience, that we all feel a degree of these things, right? And so I think that what it does by sharing honestly and vulnerably, it just allows for connection. And really, as a human, all we really want at the end of the day is to feel seen and to feel heard and to feel like we matter. And so if somebody shares something that you connect with and it makes you feel a little less alone, then you feel seen and you feel heard. So I'm happy to do it. Okay, I've made some notes, and so I'm going to be referring to them a little bit as we go through this. This is going to be 7 days. I'm really excited. Today's day 1. So here's where we're going to start. So this all started because, and this is the other thing, I only share things when I get asked to share them. So it's not that I ever sit around and go, what should I talk about now? I genuinely will just live my life. And then when I start to get a collection of similar questions, that's when I go, okay, that's what they need. And so let me figure out how I can do that and be helpful in the best way possible. And so a couple months ago, I shared this on my Instagram stories. And it is living from ego to living from truth. How do we go from living from ego to living from truth? Now, I think it's important really quickly to define ego. Because I think that, we hear things like, he's got a big ego, she's got a big ego. Ego doesn't always have to mean this negative thing, okay? Ego is simply how we view ourselves. How we view ourselves and how we think of ourselves, okay? So let me just read a few of these real quick. So it said, when you're living from ego, someone living from ego tries to never upset anyone, wants to be liked by everyone, lives by society's standards, rarely satisfied and often anxious, externally seeks love and validation, okay? Now, someone living from truth, this is how they live their life, values truth over desires or fears, knows they aren't for everyone, lives according to only their own truth, often satisfied and rarely anxious, values own love before all else, okay? So I posted this and I started to get comments in my direct messages saying, I love that. How do I do that? How do I, because I think I can't remember exactly, but I think I posted something like, used to live here, now I live here, and this is so much better. And people were like, okay, how'd you do that? How do I do that? How do I live from a place of truth? And for me, I just kept thinking of healing. And I just started thinking about these questions. And I got my voice memo out on my phone and I started just talking, because that's normally what I do at first before I actually develop a project. I'll just start as if somebody asked me a question and I'm answering it to them. Because verbally, this is just my process. Verbally, it always makes the most sense first. And then I can take the verbiage and we can figure out how to best edit that down and make it make sense. So I start doing that. And then I just started realizing like, okay, this is about healing. And healing, it's not that it's ever done. It's a lifelong thing, right? Like, for example, it's very possible to heal from something or someone. I had a friend betray me a few years ago. Have I healed from that now? Yeah, took a few years, but I have. So I have healed from that situation. Does that mean I'm healed for the rest of my life? No, something else is going to happen in my life that I'm going to need to heal from. At some point in my future, somebody that I care about, I'm going to lose them, or they might pass, or you never know. I mean, there's all kinds of things. But what I know is because I have done what I believe to be the biggest healing of all, it makes the times that come along that I need to heal from a little more peaceful. Or I feel like I have a little bit more of a roadmap, if that makes sense. Doesn't mean that it's easier. It doesn't mean that I'm not hurt or experiencing pain. That's not what that means. It just means that I know that I'm going to be able to get through this, and I know kind of how to get through it. But yeah, we're never done healing. It's just that it's going to get easier. So, like I said, there's this one thing that I believe is the most crucial. And I think that it is learning to trust yourself and to love yourself. And I want you to think about that for a second. So when you trust yourself, think about someone you trust. When you trust someone, you respect them, right? You want to be around them. You listen to them. Okay, now think about somebody you don't trust. You don't respect them. You don't really want to be around them, okay? So think about that as like a person, and then think about that as you. So if you are around someone that you don't trust, you're going to feel anxious, and you're going to feel, just all of these, not so positive feelings. If you don't trust yourself, you're also going to feel that way. So if we can learn to trust ourselves, then we're going to be able to love ourselves. And then all the other, then it's very easy to move from the place of ego to the place of truth. You're just able to get to the peaceful place much faster. Because when you don't trust yourself, you're basically just living in this internal procrastination. That's where you live. And it is filled with anxiety and worry and suffering. And what I know about suffering is that is self-imposed, okay? I said this in my TED Talk. Maybe you didn't cause the pain, but by not working through it, you're causing the suffering. This is the same thing. The ultimate version of the ultimate healing is when we can learn to trust ourselves and not feel betrayed by ourselves. And we can learn to respect ourselves, and we can learn to love ourselves. So if we can figure that out, the rest of the healing, the rest of the situations that come our way that aren't that great, we're going to be able to handle those so much better. We are going to be able to get from a place of thinking to doing much faster when we come from a place of trusting ourselves. So raise your hand or give me a heart if you're an overthinker, okay? For whatever reason, God knows why, He has put all the overthinkers in my life. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it's because I have been able to get to a place where I trust myself and I love myself and I respect myself, that I am not an overthinker. I really do trust me. And so I'm able to go, no, no, I need to do this. I know what I need to do. And so the overthinkers, what I have learned, the overthinkers They don't trust themselves. They don't love themselves. They haven't healed. They haven't done that. They live from a place of anxiety. They live from this place of worry. They live from a place of people pleasing. They live from a place where they are so conditioned by what the world and by what society has told them is right, is wrong, is good, is bad. They are so caught up with those 4 words that they are missing the only word that is important, which is real. So they might say to themselves, oh, I feel this way, but that's not right. I shouldn't feel this way. It's wrong of me to feel this way. It's bad of me to feel this way. And it's like, no, if you feel that way, that's a real feeling, okay? That's a real feeling. So let's sit with it for a second and, or a minute or a day or a week or a month or however long, and let's learn from that feeling, okay? Those feelings are a bit of a guiding light for you. And if you constantly knock it aside because you think that you have to label it as right or wrong or good or bad, then it's just going to keep popping up. I said it in the TED Talk. I'll say it here. Pain doesn't leave you until it teaches you. But you got to sit and you got to let it teach you. It's just going to keep coming. And, the same thing with healing. It's like your wounds, they're just going to keep opening up to you until you finally sit down and you heal them. And that is just the truth. So living, with overthinkers, having good friends who are overthinkers, and you have all heard me say this analogy before. I've been saying it for years. They live in a hallway is basically where they live. There's a door behind them. There's a door in front of them. Most people are anxious or worried about decisions to make, right? And they overthink. Should I buy that house? Should I not? Should I move? Should I not? Should I leave this job? Should I not? Right? That's what they do. And so instead of going, okay, the truth is I hate this job. The truth is I hate this job. It does nothing for me, but I'm an attorney and I went to law school and, all of that, like it would be wrong of me to leave this job because I put in all this work and money towards it. That's wrong. I should just stay here, right? And so they're knowing their truth, the real feeling is I hate this job. Okay, so they know that. So they put one hand on the doorknob in front of them, but then the right, the wrong, the good, the bad, that side, what the world has conditioned us to believe, all the society things, that side takes over. And so they hold on to the doorknob behind them. And so they just are sitting there stuck in the hallway. Who wants to live in a hallway? Like it's not, there's not a lot of room. It's dark. There's not much to look at. Like, I don't know, like who wants to live in a hallway? But so many people do. They are just stuck. And it breaks my heart because we all have, this knowing, right? And all it is it's asking yourself, what feels real? What feels true? Let's just look at that. Do I love this job? No. Okay, it's not about right, wrong, good, bad. It's about truth. The truth is you don't like the job. Okay. Then you need to leave the job. No matter who in your life is going to make you feel bad and tell you, I can't believe you did that. You went to law school for all those years and you finally make partner and you leave. Like, what in the world? That's why we live in the hall. Is because of that comment? No. Let's align with our truth. And once you can do that and you trust yourself, it doesn't really matter as much what other people say to you because you trust yourself. And other people who trust themselves aren't going to have that kind of response. Okay? The people who trust themselves are going to be like, good for you. Because they know. Okay, food for thought there. All right. Another favorite question of mine, and I actually asked this to myself this morning when I woke up, because I have a big decision I'm trying to make. And the question is, how does my body feel? A lot of times when I go back and forth with my thoughts, I will finally go, okay, well, my body knows, so let me just ask my body. So we'll just go back to the job example for a second. So I close my eyes and say, if I knew tomorrow I did not ever have to go back to that job again, how does my body feel? And if it's like calm and peaceful and relaxed, that's your knowing. That's your truth. That's real. And then if you ask yourself, okay, what if I have to go to this job for the rest of my life? And you start to feel tense and you start to feel anxious and you start to feel, okay, again, that's your truth. That's your knowing. That's real. So there's your answer. Like, you already know that you should leave the job. But you keep going back. Your fear makes you keep looking at right, wrong, good, bad. And that's what you have to figure out how to get rid of. You've got to figure out how to get fear out of the driver's seat of your life, or you will live a life filled with anxiety and worry. So it's pretty crucial to learn how to trust yourself, because the knowing inside of you always knows. And once you're living from a place of self-love and truth, every day gets a little more peaceful. We have the most beautiful, truest versions of ourselves, and most people don't ever get to experience it, because they live from a place of right, wrong, good, bad, instead of just what is real. And if you can figure out, which we're going to work on that this week, how to come from a place of, let me just honor what is true and what is real for me. Because here's the other thing. When you were created custom. You were created unlike anyone else. So your desires, your knowing is going to be different than your mom's. It's going to be different than your dad's, different than your sister, different than your brother, different than your spouse, different than your children, different from your best friend. So there are going to come times in your life where those people that are in your life, they're not going to understand your knowing. That's okay. They don't have to. Okay? The only thing that is important is that you understand it and you honor it. That is all. So in order to do this, we have to kind of uncover all the shit that has covered up the knowing. And in order to do that, we have to go deep. Now we're going to talk about meditation and all that on another day, but I want to start with the simplest of things. And that is our thoughts. Okay. So once again, there are not good thoughts and bad thoughts and right thoughts and wrong thoughts. There are real thoughts. This is what I'm thinking. This is real. This is what I'm actually thinking. How do I move towards that? Okay. How do I move towards that? And then you have to figure out, here's what I think is really awesome. So I'm reading this book. One of you suggested it to me, The Untethered Soul. Guys, freaking game changer. Like, I wrote all this that I'm talking to you about right now back in December. I started reading this like last week, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this goes so well with what I'm talking about. But what I'm learning in this, and it's so interesting, is that you are not your thoughts. Like, if you can start to look at your thoughts as you're the one hearing them. Just like if somebody were here with me right now, let's just say my mom, and she were like, Jessica, why are you wearing that dress? It is so ugly. It is like, it doesn't do anything for you. That's not your color. You know, I'd be like, Mom, please, like, stop. You know, that's what I would say. But when I hear my own brain maybe say something like that, I go, oh gosh, you're right. Maybe this isn't my color. Maybe I shouldn't wear this, right? And this is like the most superficial example, but I mean, We can get deep. We can go to all the things. But it's like, why am I engaging with that? Why can't I just go, listen to her again, how she's talking about all of this and everything. And that was such a game changer for me in listening to, or in starting to read this book and even this morning I started having thoughts about something that I've been really anxious about. And I genuinely started saying, listen to her go on about that again. And it really has helped a little bit in just separating the fact that those thoughts, I'm the one hearing them. I am not the thoughts. I don't really understand all of it totally yet. I'm still reading the book, but oh my gosh, it's so fascinating. Okay, but that has helped me to be able to be like, this doesn't mean that this is who I am. This just means some of the thoughts I need to engage with and some of them I don't. If they feel true, I engage with them. If they feel untrue, then I'm going to go, ugh, stop. You need to stop. Not even going to entertain you, okay? Because this isn't true. Okay. So that is what we try to do. We try to recognize the things that feel true and real, and those are the things that we move towards. Now, the other thing, and this is the last thing that I'm going to say for today, but we have to begin to speak to ourselves like we would have wanted to have been spoken to when we were a child. Now, sometimes that's hard for people to grasp. Like they're like, I don't know, I had a good childhood or whatever. My parents were great. Okay. Now, so don't look at it that way. Look at it this way. When you have a thought or a feeling, instead of beating yourself up about it and going, oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Here's an example. Let's say I used to do this all the time with where I lived. Okay. I lived in a town that was filled with great people. That was so nice. I mean, people from all, there were people who would move there. Like there's 3 colleges, there's stuff to do. Like it was a great town. But I knew I didn't want to live there. And I would say to myself all the time, you should just be grateful. Like think how many people would love to have a home in a nice, safe town. Like what is wrong with you? You should just be grateful. And so that's what I would say. And then I started saying to myself, okay, what if one day Stella came to me and said, Mom, I don't want to live in the town I live in. Is that what I would say to her? You just need to be grateful. No, I hope I would say, okay, let's talk that out. Let's honor that. Why don't you want to be here? Where do you want to live? How can we get you there? See what I'm saying? If you can start to, because so many of us had childhoods where, raise your hand if you didn't really get one, because you had to grow up real fast and you had to become the adult in the home. That was me. And so I didn't really get a lot of that. So it's very important to me. I have a lifetime of those kinds of things, of questioning my thoughts and questioning myself and trying to do the right thing always. And now I just want to do the true thing, And so I think that is the most important thing, is learning how to speak to ourselves. And anytime, and it's just all of this is you're having to unlearn old behavior and train yourself with a new behavior. Okay? So anytime you catch yourself thinking right, wrong, good, bad, stop yourself and go, what is true, what is real? Also, whenever you catch yourself saying, oh, I should just be grateful, or oh, I shouldn't feel this way. Well, you should. You're feeling it for a reason. So stop for a second and honor it. How would you treat someone and speak to someone who is the most loved and cherished in your life? How would you speak to them? Speak to yourself that way. Okay. You can go to the blog at jessicazimmerman.com and you can read more about the healing stuff for today. But that's today's little lesson. So I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be back here tomorrow and we will do part 2. All right. Okay, guys, have a good day. I'm so excited about this week. It's going to be fun and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.